one viewer. Three viewers. I don't know when to start talking. There it is. All right, 8 people, so I should start talking. But I'm still cleaning up, well, / getting ready. Yada. Yes, sir. I'm gonna go over the plan in 1 second. I'm just not very organized. Just give me 1 moment. I might have to get a 3D printer and get you a world champion worst mechanic belt. Well, I do have a 3D printer that I never use. So I could make one for myself. All right, people are starting to pile in. Never know how to start these. Well, as is tradition, the best sound in the world first. All right. Last couple times, it was the MR2 we were working on. And believe it or not, that thing is moving under its own power. So I did the old switcheroo in the garage and got project number 2 in here. So the chat already saw it, but it's a 1992 Sunburst Yellow Miata that is turboed. And I'm currently running into issues with it, and we're gonna try to fix those issues. There's a lot of little things, but right now we are focusing on a specific issue. It was a GT 2560 Garrett. Yes, sir, stock internals. Everything was refreshed, but everything on the inside is stock. So, the issue I've been fighting for a long time now is this thing keeps overheating on me. So, funny thing, I believe I'm roughly at 10 to 11 PSI. I don't know exactly because I don't have a boost gauge. I was running wastegate pressure, which is 8 PSI. And then got a boost controller, this little Mac valve here, and upped it a little bit. And that little bit is kind of, it's kind of what my heart told me to do, not necessarily measured. So I don't know exactly how much boost it's running. I believe it's at like 10 to 11. But that we'll address in the future. Anyways, this thing keeps overheating. I'll drive it for a little bit, and then all the coolant is boiling out. This thing, not yet at least, does not have an overflow can. It just has this little hose right here. So I always just see it pissing out all the coolant while I'm actually running distilled water. And I did have water wetter, but it's mostly just distilled water now because I keep filling it. So it keeps doing that. So what I've done so far is, and I haven't done it on the live stream, I've just been at this for a while, just making it worse. What I've done is I've changed the thermostat and I've changed the water pump. So the water pump is good because it used to have green coolant in it. And then when it warmed up, I only had distilled water in here and I could see it circulating. So I know it's not the water pump. And plus, you know, it's brand new. Thermostat's brand new. And I can feel the outlet to the radiator start to warm up, which means the water is flowing. So the way it kind of works, for those that aren't familiar, actually, since I'm disgusting and don't throw garbage away and I'm unorganized, I actually have the old one. So when you start the car, the coolant's cold. And as the coolant warms up, this is the thermostat. And this coil here, it's actually a copper coil. What happens is when it heats up, it changes where it is. That's just one of the properties of the metal. So when it heats up, this actually acts as a valve that opens, and it opens the circuit to the colder, you know, water that's in the radiator. So this guy heats up on this side, opens this up, and now it goes around the outer loop. So you get colder coolant that's been cooled by the radiator, the heat exchanger. And that's how this thing maintains its temperature. This guy was changed. Plus, I can feel this get hot. So the hot water that's rejected by the motor that goes into here, it's making its way here. So I know this guy's opening up. Plus, I changed it. So we're good there. Outlet gets hot, so I know it's flowing. The water pump's doing its thing, so we're good there. So I've changed everything. It's still happening. It's also boiling. So what that tells me is it's not pressurizing. So I have no idea what just fell over there. The radiator cap is a spring on every car. The reason that's important is because water, or what, here, look, see how it's low? It keeps coming out boiling. Anyways, the reason that's important is because it allows this system, the closed system, to pressurize. So kind of like a pressure cooker, water, when it's pressurized, has a higher boiling point. And the fact it's boiling tells me that the system isn't staying pressurized. You should not have your coolant start boiling. And then when it starts boiling, it starts pissing out of this line and yada, yada, yada. So when I was changing the water pump, this is the inlet to the block, I believe. I believe it's the inlet, doesn't matter. I changed that gasket. On this view is gonna be garbage. This side of the inlet has a pipe going in it. The pipe going in it has an O-ring. Against what the things online told me, I did not change that O-ring. And last time it was pissing coolant out of, you know, the overflow, I noticed there were little droplets going on down here. So I think that O-ring is now failing. So I think that leak is not letting it pressurize. That's why everything's boiling, and then eventually makes its way out here. Because, you know, when water boils, it expands to a gas, then, you know, gets really pressurized, and then pushes on the spring, comes out there. That's the theory. So I am about to do a whole lot of work for a $3, $4 part that looks like that, because I didn't do it right the first time. So do it right or do it twice. So that's what we're gonna do. Accessing this sucks, especially when you make small modifications like that. But that is the goal today. And that's a rough explanation of a cooling system on a car. So that's the theory. We'll see if it works, and we'll see if I break anything in the process. So the first step will be draining the coolant. So radiator holds a bunch. And if we go down here, that's the drain. So I gotta grab the wrench for that. We'll crack it open and drain it. Which I think this size will work. So I don't know if this drain pan actually fits the volume of all the coolant, which kind of sucks, but we'll deal with it. Did you put the battery back in? Yep, I did. That's how I got it back in the garage. And I charged my other battery, and the MR2 is running on that. The MR2 is so far so good. So see how it's clear? I've just been putting distilled water. And then we're gonna let this fill up. Hopefully not overflow. The amount of times I've changed the coolant in this thing because I've been troubleshooting this is just disgusting. And the thing is it's getting cold here, so I can't do distilled water anymore. Well, I'm still gonna, but soon I have to switch over to real coolant because we're gonna get freezing temperatures. And as water freezes, it expands, and then I'll be in a world of hurt. So this is the exciting content right here. Did you fix the MR2 problems? I fixed the problem, it looks like, but not all the problems. Last time we finished putting the gas tank in and started it, I drove it to the gas station. I drove around a little bit and I beat on it, and so far so good. I still got to button it up, but it's actually moving. All right, I gotta close this now. So what everybody's about to watch me do is spill a bunch of water in my working area. You know, I've been wondering what's been squeaking and making a bunch of poor people noises while I drive this thing around, and I actually just solved that mystery. It's the radiator. You can't drive around like that. Can't have poor people noises happening. Why is it so yellow? I don't know. Honestly, not my preferred color of choice, but they're rare, and people seem to love it. So I'm not going to complain. And it's an original sunburst. You see that? That is not what good coolant should look like. So, someone mentioned head gasket issues. I have not ruled that out completely, but I don't think it's a head gasket issue for a couple of reasons. One, there's no sheen in this. There's no oil. It doesn't smell like it either. Looks like homeless person piss. Yeah, when, they're having a little too much fun. Second reason, if I step into my office over here, I used a head gasket tester. Should be around here somewhere. Yeah, right here. And the way these work is you have blue fluid in here. And then that reacts to the exhaust fumes from the combustion process. So combustion is naturally under more pressure than the cooling system. So if your head gasket was failing, those gases would make their way to the cooling circuit. So you put this guy on here, and there's a little bubble that you push on to get the gases to go through here. And the fluid here reacts to those gases and changes color. So if you have exhaust fumes in your cooling system, that tells you bad head gasket. This, I tried it a lot because I was convinced it was head gasket, tested fine. So for now, it looks like head gasket is not the issue. That being said, if this little O-ring doesn't stop my overheating issues, I'm probably pulling this motor. And that's gonna be a whole nother mess of me breaking things. But if no one's ever seen a head gasket tester, that's what it looks like. So I don't think it's rust because it's not orangey. I think it's just old actual coolant diluted way down to distilled water. So I'm not too worried about what it looks like. What I am worried about is my pan is full and I need to not make a mess while doing this somehow. And I gotta do it one-handed while holding my phone. There's nothing on the bottom of the pan, no particles. So what a smart person would do is they would clean out the pan before they use it. I did not, so that me checking right now wouldn't mean it's actually from the cooling system. I need a funnel. And the funnel, I think this is the only funnel I have that actually fits in that nozzle. Maybe one of these. I know I am the worst mechanic ever. It's not on purpose, believe it or not. That sucks, because that goes all the way in there. That sucks just as much. I think I have a better one. Let's try this guy. And I think I can't do this one-handed, so I'm gonna have to do the old famous floor camera. You guys like that big fan that the maintenance people left here because everything gets wet and I have mold? That's pretty cool, isn't it? All right, I'm gonna do a floor camera here. I'm sorry. I only got 2 arms. What do you want me to do? I at least want to give you guys a good angle. Let's try that. Was my face in that? Probably wouldn't hurt to flush with like distilled water. All I do is fill this thing up with distilled water. I've done it like 18 times troubleshooting this. I just, oh, sick, I left my face out of it. That's good. Even though if people watch my videos, they'll see my face occasionally. All right. If you hang out to the after party stream, I'm actually gonna take a bath in this. Bathtub stream. I'll put that in my hazardous waste area. Can I be a mod? I don't know if I need one. I honestly don't know how this works. I just click a button and go live. I also like totalitarian control. All right, so we got to finish draining this. Can I be your boyfriend? Sure. gotta finish draining the radiator. Even though I think it's almost done draining. And what I'll do is I'll open this up here, which will make it drain quicker. Except now the hand I hold my phone with is all wet. Didn't plan that out, but whatever. So I open the cap on the top. Hey, all right. So she's dry. All right, so put the cap back on there. This is drained enough. Do you regret installing a turbo on the Miata? That's kind of a loaded question. Well, it wasn't mine when the turbo was installed. I did it with a friend, and then I actually bought this off of them. But no. This turbo build has probably gone a lot better than my K-swap did. So this has less regrets. It's just like the 90% is what you see and straightforward if you follow what people do online. It's just that last 10% that drives me nuts personally. Like the weird idle, occasional misfire. It runs a little lean now that it's cold out because it's getting more air. So I got to adjust the tune. It's just like project car things. And my patience with that, or like it starts bad when it's warm, but it cold starts fine. Just like tune problems, things like that. That kind of stuff actually, my patience for that is wearing very thin very quickly because I just don't have a single car that functions how it should. Okay, now that I'm done bitching and moaning. Coolant, I don't know if this is the outlet or inlet, doesn't matter. We have this like flange coming off of it. This hard line is what's leaking and where that O-ring is. This hard line goes under the exhaust manifold, goes across, that's it right there if it focuses on the right thing, which it won't, and gets bolted up to this exhaust bolt. This exhaust manifold bolt sucks because you can't get a tool in there really, so this is gonna take me forever. I also gotta remember what size it is. Let's guess 14? No, 12. Last time I did this, I put the tool on, and then I backed the bolt out enough to get my tool stuck right here, and I couldn't get to this little thing to reverse the direction. And I was in here losing my mind for like 2 hours over that. It also, I don't think it's a 12. So you can only do like 1/8 of a turn at a time. Try a ratchet box end wrench. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what that is off the top of my head. I also should just test it on a easily accessible bolt first. It was a 14, I should have listened to myself. All right, 14 millimeter with my great organization system. So we want to make sure we're loosening, which we are, and I can see like it doesn't even fit. This is gonna take forever. It's like a tiny bit at a time. And it's on there really tight. I wish I had one of those covers that go over the fender so I don't scratch it all up, I have to be cognizant of that. And now we play the 1/16 of a turn. Use a ratchet spanner. I cannot get a ratchet in there. I can't get any tool in there except for the end of this thing. Like even this doesn't fit in there. Like see, the head contacts this, the tubing from the exhaust. What do you get out of that? Nothing. So now I have to somehow manipulate this. I don't think I can get to it from underneath either. Let's see. This is my attempt to break my wrist in 6 places and get to it. Yeah, see, I do that. I turn it around. How old am I? I don't know. Old enough. This is so stupid. See, if I was alone, I'd already be yelling at it and swearing. So this is some riveting content right now. All for an O-ring that I didn't do the first time. This, what am I fixing? All right, so I gave a really long-winded explanation of what's going on, and I'll try to make it short, because I don't know, I might have some people watching that don't know. I've had issues with this overheating. Water keeps boiling in it. I've already done the thermostat and the water pump and other stuff. Water boiling means it's not pressurizing, because water can handle hotter temperatures under pressure, and if it's boiling, it's not. The system has a leak somewhere. This guy here, the outlet, has an O-ring that goes right in there. It's a hard tubing that goes into that flange, and that has an O-ring around it. I noticed that was leaking because I had coolant dripping down, you know, all over the control arm there. So I think the system can't pressurize, so it's allowing the water to boil. So then it you know, goes all over the place. It's not air trapped in the system because I've bled this thing for so long and it still keeps doing it. And if this is just my last guess as what it could be. So I'm about to do a whole bunch of work for a $4 part and see that it doesn't work. And then I'm gonna, I don't know, probably end up pulling the motor. How high did I lift it? I had the front end jacked up pretty high. Like this point was above the thermostat and all that. Yes. Lower hose. Okay, so I guess it's a bunch of new people watching, so I'll go through the whole thing. This outlet does get warm. I also did change the thermostat, so I do know that the loop opens up to the outer loop, out to the heat exchanger. And then I do know that the coolant is actually moving because the radiator gets warm, this inlet gets warm. So everything, I know the water pump works. I also already changed the water pump, troubleshooting this. That's exactly when I should have changed this O-ring, but I was too stubborn. So that's where we're at, fixing this leak, and if that doesn't fix it, then I don't know. Yeah, the car is a 92 Mazda Miata. Drew a blank there for a second. Almost said MR2. Warm vents got heat. Yes, warm vent. Yes, the radiator gets warm. The warm vents, I believe, do get warm. I don't. It's hard for me to check because the blower doesn't actually blow in the cabin because the AC was taken out and the box for it never plugged up the hole. That's on the to-do list. But from what I could tell, yes. Corky Romano, never heard of it. I'm not really a movie person, unfortunately. But now, suspect airlock warm is not hot. Well, the radiator gets hot, pal. So I did think it was pressure issues. I even changed the cap, and it seems to be fine. I also did a head gasket leak test, and that was fine as well. So I really think that all the pressure is just being lost through this leak I have over here. And if that's not what it is, then I don't know. Then I'm really gonna give it no choice but to be fixed. More than you can afford, pal. What's funny is the Supras are more expensive than that Ferrari in the movie these days. Well, you know, I'm not reaching in there after I drive it. I just feel it get warm when it, you know, gets to operating temperature. You need to buy a cooling system pressure test with a hand pump. Yeah, but you know, I have enough stuff. I don't want to buy more stuff. I'd rather just guess and check. Is the MR2 fixed? MR2 is running. I started it last time. I got the battery charged. I drove it to the gas station, filled it with gas. I probably put like 20, 30 miles on it, and everything seems to check out. So looks like we did good with that for now till the next thing breaks on it. I also beat on it a little bit to stress test it just so I can find out what's going to break on it sooner so it doesn't happen to me when I'm not expecting. Yeah, all of it is hot. I didn't stream the test drive or anything. I just did that on my own time. I did it because I needed the garage space to work on this thing. So I wish this thing would stop focusing on the wrong part. But like, look at the clearance between that. This is what happens when you have custom parts. It's just not, I mean, engineers do bad enough making equipment that's not meant to be maintained. And there it goes. I dropped it. So you can only imagine how bad custom parts are. Is that it? Yep, there it is. So there we go. Got that off. So our hose here. Can I make this lighting better for you guys, maybe? Yeah, I got a whole studio set up here, pretty sweet. Except I've had these lights for years and they haven't broken. All right, that's a little better. So this bracket holds that rigid line on with this tab. So we gotta get it off of this. Now I'm starting to remember why this sucked so much. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I would focus on the right part, but I'm literally just holding a phone while I do this. That's so close, come on. And you can't relocate that mount? Which mount? Oh, for this? Probably could. When everything's out of the way. Could probably find another way, but... what do I want to do here? So I could unbolt this flange that it's on. That'll give me a lot more freedom. I don't have another gasket for this, but the gasket was changed like a couple of weeks ago, and this car has not been driven, so I'd probably just reuse it because I'm a hack job like that. Because this is just not giving me, all I need is that tiny bit of space, and it's just not doing it for me. All right, let me see if I can pry it off. I'm gonna pry it off and then I won't be able to get it back on, and then I'll cry then. There we go. Oh, kinda. And then theoretically, I should... no, I can't. I do have to take that flange off. So, soft silicone hose attaches to a rigid tube. This rigid tubing, please focus on the right thing, phone. Come on, yeah. I'm not gonna, it should just pull out of right here, and that's where the O-ring is. I'm not gonna be able to pull it out because of this exhaust tubing. So I guess we're gonna unbolt this flange and just reuse that gasket and hope for the best. That's probably a 12. Yeah. And that's how it begins. That's how it begins, one piece at a time. Just take apart more and more. Quick $4 part is gonna turn into a lot more than that. Oh, maybe I do have the right size. Of course, this doesn't fit on. So let's see if we can do a socket. We're looking for a 14. That's a 14. It's only a 1/4-inch drive, but whatever. Is that what we need? No, 14's too big. It was a 12. Sorry, is that me throwing the sockets in here too loud? Is it piercing eardrums? All right. $12 confirmed size. Have you done a compression test? No. Have not done a compression test. Why have I not done a compression test? Sometimes you just, if you don't want to know the answer, you don't ask the question. That's why. Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. So this bolt, I'm gonna change my angle here, always gives me trouble And the threads don't really feel the healthiest on the engine block side, and it's aluminum threads. And if anyone here is familiar with my work, I've broken many bolts because apparently I do things like a Neanderthal and without any subtlety. So I'm really afraid of ruining this bolt, because if this bolt strips, then that's just sayonara to this engine block. And I'll have to figure something out. Should have case swapped it. That kind of crossed my mind, but I think one case swap is enough for me. I think I'm all case swapped out. I'm putting this under here because I think there's gonna be some sweet, sweet drippings, and I'm just gonna use that to catch some of it. But yeah, I think I'm case swapped out. I think my new policy moving forward with any new car I get is I will sign a contract to myself with legal representation that says I will absolutely do nothing to the powertrain other than regular maintenance. If it is more than like changing a gasket for something or changing oil, I will not be the one to do it. Suspension modifications, I would do, but not powertrain. I think I've had enough of that. Hello from Japan, holy smokes. I'm the real Mr. Worldwide. Hello, Japan. Love your cars. Unfortunately, I ruin them, but I love your cars. I love the design philosophy behind them. Yeah, I'm having so much trouble that they're actually sending support from Japan for this JDM car. What am I doing to it? I'm changing a very small, insignificant part that's causing significant issues. So my advanced organization system, the hardware I take off is gonna go right in the floor, right where I'm walking. So this is held on by 2 bolts. I just took the bottom one out. Now I'm gonna go back to this top one. But yeah, what I'm doing to it is I'm changing an O-ring for the coolant inlet because it's leaking, and I think that's messing with it, not allowing it to pressurize properly, causing me the coolant to boil over and causing me overheating issues. What's crazy is this thing ran for years turbocharged in traffic, in summer and all that, fine. I get my stupid hands on it and immediately get issues. I actually thought I blew the motor. This thing was sounding like a tractor. And then the next time I started, it didn't, so I just ignored it and acted like it never happened. But I may or may not have a backup plan, and I may or may not already have a spare 1.6 liter ready to be refurbished to go into this thing. All right, so this is free from the engine block, I think. Oh, man. Yep, it is. So I'm gonna take this gasket off because I have to reuse it because I don't have another one. I literally installed it 3 weeks ago. So I'm not ashamed. And in this household, we just do things like that. Plus it's a metal gasket. Wow, I can't believe I found out what that squeaking was. It's just this radiator. It's also really weird working on a car, just kind of talking to yourself when it's not yelling and swearing because something broke. What I need to do is to safely get this gasket off, but it's not really doing it. So this thing is still held in place. D. Jackson, an OG. This guy fixing his car, woman playing piano, another woman playing cards, a guy talking about politics. Well, you know, I hope I'm the best one. Okay, so right now, this coolant line is hitting this exhaust manifold, so I can't pull it off. I can't move it, but theoretically, if I pull on this hard enough, I'll separate it from this hard line and be able to access the O-ring that I want to access anyways. Actually, I just freed it. I don't know how. Oh boy, this gasket does not look great, so I'm not going to remove it. At least you're teaching us something. I'm doing my best. That's usually, I try to give people, either they learn or they at least get a realistic look into working on cars, because I'm kind of sick of YouTubers doing something and then never driving it. And then, you know, a bunch of unrealistic expectations come out of it. And I was kind of one of the idiots that bid on that and did a project that was way too intense. Like, not everyone has a 3-car garage with a lift. Sometimes you're just working in, if you're lucky enough, you're not in a parking lot. You have 1-car garage. I started doing everything in a parking lot. And then I rented a storage unit that was not meant for cars, and I secretly put my car in it, and I worked in it, and it was the smallest little thing ever. And then I got this garage. A true come up. All right, I don't know exactly how this housing separates from this line other than just yanking on it. So I'm gonna put this down for a quick second. I'm gonna give it a good yank, and hopefully we end up somewhere good. Hopefully I don't knock my phone down into the abyss, because I think theoretically it should just come out. It's just a press fit. I'm actually gonna take my sweater off too, it's getting hot. This stream is getting hot. Oh man, look at this. This gasket already looks like shit. That's definitely gonna leak when I put it back on. What am I gonna do about that? Time to order I don't want to order a new gasket. I just ordered one. This thing is like 2 miles old. No, what we do in this house is we're gonna ignore that, so we can do this job a third time. I can't for the life of me get... Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? We're gonna get a little crazy. I'm just gonna take this whole thing off. So, first things first, let's remove the small hose. So I need a flathead. Ignore that noise, don't worry about it. All right, so, sorry, I'd take the camera with me, but I need 2 hands for this crazy maneuver. Actually, I'll do it at an even easier spot. We'll do it further up. Except that, see, now I'm going from things that weren't leaking and I'm taking them apart. So now I'm gonna make it leak. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tighten this one back up, put it back the way it was. This job is escalating, as it always does. The turbo is a Garrett GT 2560. Garrett. The job always escalates. It's never one simple thing. Okay, so this housing also connects. See, like this. This sucks because these hose clamps are facing the wrong way, I think. Oh no, it's the right way. Okay, so next we're gonna take those hose clamps off. Right. What are you working? What am I working on? A 1992 Mazda Miata. Or I wonder if the guy from Japan is still in here. Matsuda. I believe that's how they say Mazda. I got a twin turbo Mustang 2021. Got walked like a dog. I remember I had the same thing. Well, funny enough, I had the same thing happen. Oh yeah, the guy from Japan is still here, a guy or girl. Matsuda, right? Is that how you say it in Japan? I got walked in this thing by an Elantra N. Some young kid that had a burble tune, and he just kept doing pulls next to me on the highway, and then he had one of those Insta 360 cameras on the back of his car, so I'm sure I'm on some Instagram account somewhere. And I also, here's a fun fact that I never put on my YouTube channel or anything. I used to have a GC8 WRX imported from Japan. So the first generation WRX. And I got walked in that thing because there's a top speed limiter. So I was racing some dude on the highway and I hit a limiter that I didn't know existed, so he just pulled away. So I'm still trying to get these clamps loose enough to back it off. It's just hard to reach. And I hate it when it's a flathead because it always slips off. I enjoyed it, but the two things that were wrong with it is I didn't want to drive it in the snow because of rust. And the whole point of a Subaru is kind of the fact that it's capable over multiple terrains. And two, I was afraid of it blowing up because it's a Subaru. I also used that money to finish my MR2. I can't get these clamps off. I got walked in my WRX by Mazda 2. Those Mazda 2s, they're zippy little things. They're good cars. The Mazda 2s actually share a platform with the Fiesta ST, which people call the front-wheel drive Miata, if you will. It's a good car. All right, so these two clamps are loose, so I should theoretically be able to pull this coolant hose off, which I'm sorry I can't get a better angle of that. I have to put my phone down, but Daddy's a little thirsty. When you slam the gas, you go through the windshield. Definitely not on a Mazda 2. I know you're talking about some other car. All right. So we are free from that. Now this hard line, the other side of it. Oh, WRX, yeah. Yeah, that thing's a clam. The other side of the hard line connects right here, which I honestly might just pull out up here because it's easier access. But see, we went from unbolting one bolt and now we're undoing hoses. Next thing you know, I'm gonna have to move cross country and get a divorce, lose my job. What if I just air cool this thing? Lifted the car with the jack, I could have. Sell my soul to the devil, that's right. All right, so cool, that's disconnected there. So we can remove this culprit, the culprit, hopefully. There we go. All right, so this thing was on the motor like that. This was the first bolt we undid. Then we undid the two that go to the block. This is that gasket that I shouldn't reuse. But the culprit, I believe, is in here. And if we look at it, I don't know. How's the toe? The toe's still broken and it still hurts. Thanks for asking. So this thing was cocked this way. It's cocked because it's a Saturday night, am I right, boys? I'm sorry, this camera angles kind of sucks. Use RTV instead of a new gasket. I don't think I have any gasket maker here. Actually, I might have the best gasket maker. How did I break my toe? Just playing sports. Oh, I don't even have Honda Bond. So, nope, no gasket maker, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to order a new gasket. A lot of dangerous garage chemicals. Yeah, well, not dangerous. They're just, you know, they're mostly just your usual slimes and sludges we like to play in. Okay, I can't get this hard tubing out. There it is. I just have to be a man about it. So, all that work for this O-ring, which I think was leaking, but I'm inspecting it, and it kind of looks fine, but everybody says they leak pretty often. So yeah, all that work for this $4 part. Pretty cool. What's that run in a quarter mile? I have no idea. With me driving, probably something terrible. So if we look into here, high 16s. This D Jackson guy's a wise guy, huh? If we look into here, sorry guys, I'm doing this one-handed, so I kind of, it almost looks like, yeah, I think that's our culprit there. There's like a little burr left over from the casting, and I think the way this thing was mounted, it kind of dug into that. So, what do we do about that, you ask? Well, in my box of many things, I believe I have a deburring tool somewhere. That's how I break my toe, actually. I drop stuff on it because I have the organization skills of a toddler. I had a, yep, there it is, deburring tool. So let's give that a shot. Can you file it or no? That was going to be my next thing. That was going to be my next. So hopefully this, I'll run through the troubles I've been having in a full kind of backstory since there's new people here. But hopefully this will solve our issues. But unfortunately, we can't finish it tonight because I have to order, lo and behold, I have to order more parts. So what's funny is I put the camera on the ground, so I'm literally, I'm almost belly down doing this work so I can actually get you guys a view. I'm actually on my stomach and my legs are kicking up in the air while I talk to you guys. And the deburr tool actually doesn't reach in there. So I think we will have to file it away for another time. I think you meant to say that I have that dog in me. So yeah, we're gonna file it. And I believe I have a round file. There she is. That's not round, that's square. I had a round one at some point. Sorry. How about a wheel cylinder hone? File the square file, make it round. See, this is the reason I do these, for good ideas like that. That's the kind of thinking I need in my life. So, file, rusty file, and then we're just gonna go at this thing. So it kind of sucks is I can't get to it too easily, but we'll make do. Yeah, I can feel the lip. I'm also, my mouth is like right on my phone, so I really hope it's not just like my loud breathing for everyone. I hope the audio is decent. Good thing it's aluminum. If it was steel, I'd be absolutely screwed. I can't tell. I think I got those chunks off. Hold on, let me grab a rag to clean it. clearance at Staples. Also, let's get a vote from the chat. This gasket, we running it, or are we gonna pause here and order a new one? So let me clear all this gunk out. Oh, I haven't even had this light on the whole time. New gasket. That was a test. I wanted to see if you guys would want to watch me fail or if you're here to support me. You guys failed the good viewer test, but you failed the funny viewer test. So I actually think that burr is gone now. Actually, I don't have any gasket maker. I used to actually have gasket paper. But I think I used the last of that too. And this mystery gasket is actually too small. I got really excited when I found that. Yeah, I don't have any more paper, unfortunately. So we'll get this thing cleaned up and then we'll end it there. And then next week we'll put it all together and watch it not work again. So that burr, that Bill Burr is gone. So that looks good. It's just your normal like surface finish from being cast. So we're looking good there. Then we can remove this old one. The old gasket looks okay. Or sorry, O-ring. Well, it's gone now, so I'll never know. So I'll clean this surface off real quick. That's interesting. It's got a little rust there. Or maybe it was rubbing there. Not sure. But we'll clean this off. There we go. So there's nothing nothing sharp on it that's going to damage the new one. And then we're going to go over here, take a sip of our zesty drink. We're going to go to our silicone lubricant, our best friend. And we're going to apply some so we don't damage the new O-ring. Yes, sir, lubing the O-ring. Just take it out of this basket. You guys like this professional setup where I put you down on the ground onto a bunch of garbage? Oops, completely missed. There we go. So it's not gonna get caught or won't snug on anything. And then we just put it on there and we got the new O-ring. Likewise for in here, I already wiped it down, but just because I'm paranoid, I want to double check. We'll clean the mating surface for that as well. And also lube this puppy up. And then put it back together. So this thing mounts like this, and this has to go on like that. So this is a press fit. There's no chance I can do this on the ground, I'm sorry. Well, I'm gonna try to. Yep, there it is. It's press fit in there. It's in there nicely. And hopefully it won't leak. So I believe that's what the problem was. So I guess for next time, next Saturday, I'll leave the new gasket. I'll order one. And then reinstalling everything, and then we can see how it does. But I'll give a quick recap because we have a whole bunch of new people watching. Let's go throw away the old stuff. Okay. It's a 1992 Miata. It's been giving me overheating issues. So I keep getting the coolants overheating and then it boils over and it just starts pissing out of this hose. Usually there's an overflow tank, but I just have this going to atmosphere. So the way the coolant system works is you have fluid, water and glycol mixture, whatever, that circulates through the engine block because you want to keep it cool so nothing melts, your oil doesn't get too thin, yada, yada, yada. So if it's liquid cooled, you have a coolant system. That coolant system circulates in there. I actually have a prop for this somewhere. At least I thought I did. I don't know where I put it. I brought it out in my earlier explanation. I didn't put it back in my trash pile. I did not. Oh, that's a shame. Anyways, I'll just use the radiator cap to explain. So the coolant circulates in the engine block, and when that gets warm enough, we'll refer to that as closed loop or the smaller loop. When that gets warm enough, there's this thermostat. Oops. There's this thermostat here. That thermostat is pretty much just a copper spring. I don't know if it's copper. I forget what material it is. But when it reaches a certain temperature, it contracts. So it opens up. So, it's just like a regular spring. So that opens up and pretty much opens this valve. So it allows the cold coolant from your radiator to flow in. So that's how it regulates the temperature. So what I've done is I've had this run. I've confirmed that the coolant is flowing from the outlet here. So it to the touch, it goes from cold to warm. So I know the hot coolant is making its way to the radiator. Then the radiator gets hot, this gets hot. So I know the whole thing, the loop opens up. So I know that works. Even still, I did change this thermostat, did not solve my issue. The next thing I did is I changed the water pump. I thought maybe it was seizing at moments. And actually for a couple of weeks, I thought that solved it, but it didn't. So I know the coolant's moving and I know it's moving to the correct loop, but I was still having it boil over. So water, when it's pressurized, it has a higher boiling point. So the whole reason your radiator cap is a spring, it's to keep everything pressurized. And I changed the radiator cap because I thought maybe there wasn't enough pressure, so that's why the water was boiling. Did not change anything. I noticed that this hose that we just changed the O-ring on was leaking, so my thought there is it's losing the pressure there, causing it to boil over. All right, did I check my oil for milkshake? Yes, the oil was clear when it came out. Oil is clear when it came out. The coolant is clear, there's no oil in the coolant. And I actually did a head gasket tester, so there's no exhaust fumes in the cooling system. And so it doesn't look like head gasket. That being said, I still have a feeling it's head gasket. But I'm not going to test that too deep, because if it is head gasket, then I'm just pulling this motor and doing something else. So this little O-ring is kind of like my last chance at making this thing not overheat. And if it does continue to overheat, then I'm going to do a system reboot. So that's what I've been done. That's been my troubleshooting process. Still can't find it. This O-ring little coolant leak is kind of the last simple thing I have to check. Just did the oil galley gaskets on the new motor that's going in, G37 turbo. Yeah, I can't imagine, like, this small motor is enough of a pain in the ass. I can't imagine those like twin turbo V6s and all that, how much of a pain those are to work on. But anyways, that's been my troubleshooting process. If it's not this, then I guess out she goes, and I'm just gonna make a really much bigger mess of it all. But I do already have a spare 1.6 that's ready to go in, but I wanna, if I end up going that route, I'm gonna use that as an opportunity to actually clean up the engine bay and make it look a little nicer. So I'm gonna do a different valve cover. Also gonna change all the gaskets and all that, but actually refresh it and make it look nice. Do I go live most Saturdays? I didn't, but now I do. I've kind of turned into I hate to say it, but a live streamer, because people tune into this for whatever reason. Usually pull okay numbers. So that's where we're at. So next time, I'll order that gasket and we will install it back in and we'll see what happens. What kind of power does it make? So it dynoed at wastegate pressure, it dynoed at 185 wheel horsepower. Since then, this boost controller is added. I don't know how much pressure or how much PSI I'm running now. I think it's 10, just going off of like interpolating what the map sensor is reading. I don't have a boost gauge on it. So it should be a little bit more. It should be closer to like 195, 200 to the wheels. But a dynoed at 185 with less boost. It is fun while it's working. But unfortunately, everything I touch, I'd ruin. So none of my cars work. I can't imagine why. I'm really organized and meticulous with everything I do. Damn right it feels zippy. So that's where we're at the moment. I guess I'll continue this next. I'm guessing you don't want to deal with installing a boost gauge. Well, my my friendly chemist, there is a long laundry list of things I want to do to this thing, and a boost gauge is one of them. But I want to make it work before I start nitpicking at little details like that. But I can't seem to have my cars operational at the same time. There's just something in the universe that keeps that from happening. Because next on the list, if this runs, next on the list is a third car that I have not introduced or used to make any videos or anything that I gotta fix, and I might stream that. What's what? What's that? An engine. That's a wrench. It's a shoe. So honestly, the funny part is these Saturday live streams have kept me from being lazy, and I'm actually working on stuff. At least till it gets too cold. No, it's a 1.6 4-cylinder. 1, 2, 3, 4. No 6-cylinder. Even though I think my dream Miata build would be a J-swapped one. So a V6 in it. Got to get the Mister heater in a propane tank. It helps a lot. I used to do that. So if you look at my YouTube channel where I make shitty videos that no one watches, if you go to the really old ones on my silver MR2, I had a storage unit that had no heat and actually no power. And I used to work in the winter there. So you'd see my breath in the videos. And I just had a little propane heater that I'd bring with me. What size snail? 60. Garrett GT 2560. Horsepower, 185 to the wheels. I run a little more boost now, so mystery. If I had to guess, it's probably like 195 to the wheels now. 200 at most. It's definitely not as fast as my MR2. By a good margin, and that thing's 250 to the wheels. It is fun. So the weird thing with these, the weird thing that I'm kind of going through is I don't know how people have 400, 500, 600 horsepower cars and drive them on the street. Because even in this thing, that's 180 to the wheels. I feel like I'm going, arrest me speeds in a couple seconds, or I'm, gonna kill myself or someone. So I don't know. This is enough power for me. I don't know how people do it. So this thing is fun. Like I can, in the middle of a corner, if I mash the throttle, it still kicks the ass end out, and I can slide it around stuff, especially if I didn't have sticky tires on it. So I really don't know what the need is for crazy amount of power. At least it's too much for me personally. A 16A? What's a 16A? Oh, B16A? Nice. I've never dealt with a B series. I've only have the K swap that I've done. K24. Passat 200 horsepower, you just totaled it. Well, I hope you didn't get hurt. I hope no one got hurt. But yeah, 200 horsepower is enough to get yourself in plenty of trouble. Yeah, so the, that sucks. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully not anything serious. Yes, it's a Mazda Miata. 1000cc bike. That shit should require a special license. I've ridden a 1200 Gixxer. So I have maybe 4 hours motorcycle experience total. And the second bike I ever rode was a Gixxer. And that thing, if I just looked at the throttle, wanted to flip me over. It was crazy. Yeah. 1200 Hayabusa motor. Which, like, people are Busa swapping Miatas and getting, enough power out of them. So take away 80% of the weight. Just bought a Harley for 500. I'm not a, I don't know. I got plenty of friends into Harleys. I don't know anything about them. I just know Panhead, something else. Panhead's like the old one, but I don't know. I'm not too big into Harleys or motorcycles in general. I get it, but not for me. I especially don't trust myself on one. See, after I'm done the work, we just do the, almost turns into a Q&A or just, I guess, hanging out. I know that color looks terrible. This car, not running right now. And when it has been running, it runs good for a couple minutes. Do I have kids? No. Well, actually, I'm a cat dad. No, I don't have kids. I don't have kids. I got nothing. Nothing to live for. Special tuning software. It's just running a Mega Squirt. So it's just Tuner Studio. When I drive this thing, I do the McDonald's color scheme. My boy gave me a sweet Coca-Cola hat, so I got the McDonald's color scheme going. Pretty sweet. Mega Squirt. Mega Squirt 2. That yellow is a classic. So I do like yellow cars. I don't know how so the thing with, I don't know how I feel about the yellow. I mean, they can look good. There's a kind of famous-ish Miata online that is a yellow, and below this body line, he painted it black, and I think that looks really good. Also, I personally don't like black wheels, but you don't really have any other options on a yellow car. So I don't know. The yellow's all right. The front bumper is actually pretty mismatched, unfortunately. I want to get that repainted one day. If it just dies, it's got to be something with air intake injectors. No, it's not that. It's overheating. They're a pain in the ass to keep clean. Yeah, you're telling me. Look at this. Yeah. Look at all that from just sitting out in the rain. Detailing this thing is on my long laundry list of what to do to this thing. Yeah, see that? All along the car. Yeah, I know. The luggage rack is, I want to get rid of this, and the luggage rack is OEM. I want to make it all black. But I don't know the best way to paint plastic, and the chrome is like coming off. Again, I had a whole thing I had a whole series I was gonna do about like just quick improvements to actually try to improve this thing. I was gonna try to do one every day for 30 days. And that was one of them. But as you can see, I'm a little preoccupied with other issues. Yeah, big fan of the spoon. Well, the spoon EKs are you talking about the racing one? Weren't those blue and yellow? But either way, the Type R EK came out, and that, I think it was a championship yellow. Is that what they called it? But those always look nice. I don't know. I think something about the shape of the Miata, the yellow doesn't work for me, but it's not the worst. But yeah, there's a whole laundry list. Like these are windshield wipers. Rusting, I want to paint those black. This trim on the window, a little rust. I want to get new ones of that. This Robin's top, like some of it doesn't fit quite right. So there is a big laundry list. But priority right now is just to get it running, get it moving. And I've kind of, like, this garage isn't big. And I rent and they plow in the winter. So if we get snow, I need to be able to move all my vehicles. I just joined. What's the details on the engine? Engine is just all stock internals, 1.6 liter, but it's turbocharged. GT 2650 Garrett turbocharger. Custom exhaust manifold. Well, TDO Performance did it. So it's not like the log style you get from Flying Miata, which is nice. You know, bigger injectors, different throttle, aftermarket radiator, but that's really it for the engine. And a tune, obviously. Other than that, it's on like teen sport coilovers. It has RPF ones, Indy 500s for tires. Put it on a tow truck, it'll move. I've had a car towed, I think, 3 times in my life. Every time I've had a car like break down, I actually did it right as I was pulling up to home, luckily, except those 3 times. What's keeping it from running? I've explained this to death. I mean, there's only 20 people watching, so I can bore them with this. But it's just been overheating. I've gone through almost the whole system, thermostat, water pump, even radiator cap and all that. It just keeps boiling and overheating. I found a leak in the outlet, which was this O-ring that I just changed, but I'm missing this gasket, so I'm gonna have to finish it next time. How much horsepower do I think I gained? So power terms, it's impressive. So I think stock, these things dyno at like 85 to the wheels or 90. This dynoed at 185, and now it's sitting somewhere closer to 200. So about 100 horsepower gain. So that's over 100% gain. That's like 120%. But yeah, we are missing this gasket, and I obviously can't reuse it. So I'm gonna order one, and then next week we'll continue. The reinstall should be pretty straightforward. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'll idle it in here and just get some tubing to route this exhaust to the outside so I don't, you know, give myself carbon monoxide poisoning. Your 1991 Miata? So it's not instant overheating, it's when I'm driving. I get out and I park the thing and everything is boiling and just pissing out the overflow there. So I'll check it out. 265 is a lot. Is that stock internals? Because this thing is what was I gonna say? This thing was supposed to be a reliable build, but when I get my hands on something, reliability goes out the window. Did I stiffen up the suspension in any kind of subframe? Negative. Yeah, no, I did not. I'd love to eventually, especially if this thing somehow goes to some sort of high performance driving event. I consider myself more of a suspension guy, but the 2 cars that I have, I decided to mess with the motor first, and neither of them have driven enough for me to actually be able to dial in a suspension. I don't have any material, and I'm gonna go to bed soon, so I'm not gonna do that now. Head gasket going. Head gasket, I'm giving that like a 30% chance that it's a head gasket. I did some tests. So far, it doesn't seem like it, but I have a feeling it is. Fans are kicking on. I have confirmed that. Heater core being plugged. So I don't think anything's plugged because the radiator is getting hot. So are both the inlet and outlet. Yeah, I've raised this thing up probably more than is advised, just to make sure there's no air in it and it's still happening. Temperature sensor. Oh, so here's the funny bit. My temperature sensor in the gauge cluster is not accurate. So a while ago, me and my buddy were troubleshooting that, and the wiring harness that runs, I think over here, actually right in this area, there's a short. So the way the temperature sensor gets its feedback is there's actually two sensors, and the one back here is for the gauge cluster and the other one's for the ECU. I might have that reversed, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. This sensor, based on temperature, changes its resistance, and based on the resistance, that gauge will move. That thing shorted out, so it pinned, and when it did that, the little mechanism that holds the needle actually got unaligned. So we took the gauge cluster apart and realigned it, but I think now that little mechanism wore out, so now the needle isn't quite as accurate. So my regular driving is in the middle, and overheating is like just a touch too far, so I'm constantly paranoid looking at it. So that's a fun little tidbit of other issues with this car. Eventually, I want to get one of those, what are they called? Rev limiter gauges, because that guy does a good job, and it would look really cool. But any aesthetic, nice to have stuff is gonna wait on this. I just want it to be reliable first. I don't think that's the overheating. That's not the overheating problem, that's a monitoring problem. So it's not the cause of it, but it makes it harder to detect. Yeah, I want to keep this thing looking OEM. That's a little too race car for me to do that. Yeah, I have the list of things I have to do between my 3 project cars is, I'm just putting this down for a quick second, is actually disgusting. And the amount of time and money I have to put into it is just terrible. How fast does it take before it overheats? It kind of varies. I don't have a good answer for that. I've driven this thing for like a week and it's fine. And then I've driven it on, around the block, and I pull back up and it's boiling over. And I don't think it's an ambient issue day, because I've definitely driven on like 90-degree plus days, or 30 plus if you're somewhere that uses Celsius, and it did not give me an issue. Then other days where I think it should or should not, it does. So I don't have a good answer for that. I've driven around, it's not the thermostat, I already changed that. And I confirmed that like all these lines, they start cold and they get warm. So I'm definitely getting the loop opening and circulating. But I've driven around and I didn't hit boost and it still occurred. I was thinking maybe the head's lifting. That's not a thing. That's not happening. So I really hope that the whole system just isn't able to pressurize because of this O-ring. If it's still overheating after this motor is getting pulled, and I'm kind of just gonna make a whole thing of it and just never have it run properly again, because that's what happens when I work on cars. I have the only NA Miata in the world with active traction control using the speed sensors from the NB, and the ECU master is handling the braking and traction control. That's badass. That's a cool project. I can only imagine how hard it was to dial in all those speed sensors and get all the signals and all the noise taken care of. Or maybe it was all the OEM stuff played nice right off the bat. That's really cool though. I'd like to do creative things like that. The whole reason I named this channel IG Designs was I was gonna design things for a car, but instead I take things other people got working and make it not work. 2011 Crown Vic, one of the most reliable platforms. And I also think that platform is gonna become like like they're gonna start becoming drift sleds. I think all the drifting people are gonna start picking those things up. You got V8 power, rear wheel drive, and reliable. I actually wanted a Crown Vic, and then I was gonna dress as close as I could to a uniformed police officer and drive around like that, just for my own entertainment. Oh, that sucks. How tall are you? I want a 6-speed swap this thing. I want that, and I want the Torsen. I got the clutch differential. I want the Torsen rear end from the NBs. 6'8". You want to play on my pickup team? I was gonna say my MR2 Spider is a little more accommodating to tall people, because the engine's obviously in the back, so you got a little bit more room in the cockpit. But 6'8" will not work, unfortunately. I have a friend that's 6'5", and his knees are on the dashboard. Yes, Jay swapped Miata. That's my dream project. Jay swapped Miata. I want a J32 Miata. If I could rewind everything, I would start with a really clean NB Miata and J swap it, and I think that would be my project car. Am I at least enjoying myself? No, never. All right, it's 8:43 where I am. I'm gonna 5 minutes, 8:48, then I'm gonna end the stream. So any other questions or anything else you want to see, let me know, but I need to go to bed. Yeah, I know, but it'd be funny to me, just because I have a dumb sense of humor. 475 wheel on a 1.6. Yeah, I'm is that street driven, or is it track toy only? I can move all this. It's a street car? That's crazy. I can't imagine 475 horsepower in one of these. Like, I'm like every guy out there. I think I'm a decent driver. And like this thing, even 200 wheel is enough to get myself into trouble or, hurt myself on the street especially. Yeah, the traction control makes a lot of sense. NSX uses C30, 32. I mean, NSX is cool. That motor's cool too, but like I feel like a J30, J32 is just newer. I'm sure you can get more out of it. More readily available since they were like in the Odysseys and all that. I think the only problem with the J swap is just how tall it is. People end up having interference issues with the hood, and I think you need that custom oil pan, and your ground clearance is like an inch or two. Yep, that's it in all its glory. Sound is better on the C. The J is harder to swap because it's front wheel bit. Oh, I guess I never considered that. Well, wouldn't the layout be the same between the J and the C, because the NSX is mid-engine, so I would assume it was mounted, transverse like a front wheel drive car just in the back. That's how my MR2 is, but oh, it's facing forward. That's cool then. I didn't know that. 12 years ago, it had like 80 horsepower, slowly gotten more powerful over the years. You get used to it, scared of it properly. That's the thing about it just never ends wanting power. I found that the secret to project cars is you have like whatever it is, whatever power level you have, and just make your daily something way slower. And then if you start to get bored of the power of your project car, just drive your daily for like 2 months, and then when you get back into your project car, it feels like a rocket ship again. I remember a couple of years ago, I had a stock FRS, and then I had a stock EK9 Civic which I should never have gotten rid of. And after driving the Civic around with its 80 wheel horsepower, the FRS felt like a spaceship. So that would be how I would handle that. But then some other people would build a 1.6 to 475 wheel horsepower, to each their own. J Series has all the accessories on the side. You need adapter plates. Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about I never looked too far into the J Series stuff. I guess that makes sense why people do the Jaguar motors, because it's already facing the right way. It's probably a little more straightforward, but it's a Jaguar. Where am I at geographically? I'm in a garage. Yeah, I hope that leak is the issue too. Yeah, thanks for the compliments on the car. But if nobody else has any more questions, I think I'm gonna end this, which I don't even know how to end a stream. I usually just say bye and end it. And stop talking to myself here alone in my garage. Which state, if you could go to a track, I would come out, watch you race it when you get it going. I'm in the Northeast in New Hampshire, but I think my window for taking anything to a track is pretty far away and closed at the moment. Metal shifter bushing. Yeah, that those little upgrades are on the list. It's just, getting through the list. Use it. Get auto radiator and plumbing oil line for the turbo and trans line. Automatic has a cooler built into the radiator. Use it to cool turbo line. Interesting. As far as heat, I'm pretty sure this thing is fine. I'm not pushing a lot of power, and this radiator is, if you look at those Honda guys, they're running half the size. So I think this is plenty of cooling capacity for this displacement. Yeah, I figured can't really go too big. All right, I'm gonna end the stream now. So, yeah, I'm gonna get this gasket on order, and then next Saturday, we'll try again, and hopefully we get somewhere. So thanks for watching, and